over here. Do you want me here?
Yes.
Very lovely. Hi everyone, thank you for coming this evening. I'm Caroline Tunkel from High Cancer Care. Firstly, I just wanted to thank Victoria for being here for us, and big, huge thanks to Susan. For those of you who, I'm sure most of you know Susan, but for those of you who don't know, Susan actually, as well as making this incredible book for High, she's one of our dietitians. She works at High, she's absolutely amazing. Our clients really value our dietitians and the service that they provide. It's one of the 70 services that we have at High, and for clients that chance of being able to speak to someone when they've been going through treatment, someone who can help advise them with the right food, the right nutrition, really help them after their treatment get back to feeling like themselves again. But also what's incredible is that we obviously have our clients who are the patients, but we also have people who want to support their loved ones. And we're very lucky, the Jewish community, one of the first things we do when we hear that someone might not be well, how can I help? What can I do? It's a natural thing that all of us say all the time. And it's an amazing cookbook that Susan has put her heart and soul into for us. She's found the recipe, she's written the recipe, she did the photo, she did absolutely everything for it. And this cookbook has become really a staple for our clients and for their loved ones. So thank you, Susan. Thank you, all of you, for coming tonight, for supporting us. Just so you know, at the moment, we currently have over 4,500 people that we're supporting at High. So you guys being here, supporting us, supporting Susan, means so much to us. And I'm going to leave you to Susan and Victoria to learn more. So thank you, and everyone enjoy.
Thank you. I'm also delighted to welcome Susan tonight. It's always really reassuring when someone looks so healthy, because if you're going to talk to a nutritional therapist, they need to look the part, really, and Susan looks fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
I'm trying. It's working. As you've just heard, Susan's a nutritional therapist and a mother of, well, you didn't know, she's a mother of 3 grown-up boys. She studied at the College of Naturopathic Medicine in London before she returned to Cheshire, where she lives, to set up a private practice. She lives in South Manchester with her husband Lawrence, who's here tonight, and their dog Lily. And she loves, I got this from the back of the book, travel, sport, and entertaining her friends, making them food with love. And I think that's really key for tonight, because the feeling I got from her wonderful book, there's a lot of love in it. And it's a very special book. I really enjoyed looking through it. And I'm really excited to hear all about it tonight and hear about you. I felt as soon as I saw the book, it was something I wanted to cook from instantly, and there's already some food stains on there. And our sub-editor, who looks at my pages, we recently ran a spread, I don't know if anyone saw a feature about Susan and a couple of recipes, but he immediately said to me, oh, I cooked it was a sesame quinoa salad with pecans. He came back raving about it, he loved it. And it's just lovely to know, it's very useful. So I think we'll start right at the beginning. I want to hear really where the story begins and why you decided to become a nutritionist.
Yes, it was quite an interesting story. I was studying psychology at university, and we had to do a dissertation thesis, as you do, final year. And there's a lot in the papers about this E number, E102 and tartrazine. Have you heard of it? Yes. Okay, which we'd all heard of. And they were saying that kids were just becoming hyperactive, they couldn't concentrate at school, and that it was linked to these various E numbers, particularly this tartrazine. So I thought, what's this anyway? Started looking into it and ended up doing this dissertation on school children. And we had a group of kids. I mean, it was a bit rough at the time in the sense that raw around the edges, I should say, and that, research then wasn't quite the same as today, but we did notice that when we had kids on a healthy diet and kids on all this junk food, there was a massive difference in their behaviour. And I remember my professor saying to me at first, oh yeah, go and do it with pleasure, but you won't notice there's a difference. Came back and it was so significant, he said there's really something in this. And it got me thinking about, okay, food, what we eat, it's really important. And I was a really lucky person because I'd grown up in a home where my mother was the most amazing cook, and I'd just taken it all for granted, all this great food. but not everybody eats that way. So it set me off on the path, and I just thought, there's got to be something in this. It was a bit before its time.
How long ago was it?
This was in the early 80s.
All right.
I think it was a bit, there wasn't really anything you could go and study too much for nutrition and behaviour. So I went on the educational psychology route, became a teacher as part of that process, and kind of worked with kids, and was all the time, it was in the back of my mind. I thought, I got married, had kids, and I thought, when the time comes, I'm going to train. And so I did.
So this was a second career?
It was a second career for me.
And before you were just teaching?
So I was teaching in primary school, and then I managed a nursery, and that was the point at which actually was quite powerful, because you could do whatever you want with the food. I thought, here's my chance. We can get these kids to eat healthy food. So we did. I mean, there was like, well, where's the pizza? Where's the chips? Where's this? And, the parents saying, and slowly we managed to change things. And it was amazing, because we did projects, we started to teach the kids about what healthy food was. And actually, it was really, really amazing. I climbed a bit of a mountain, but then once things turned around, it was great. So I'd learned a lot, and also having a psychology degree, food and behaviour, fussy eaters, kids that are fussy at home, parents coming in and saying, I can't get them to eat what we eat, having to make separate meals, and all that. So we worked on that quite a bit, which was good experience.
How did that go with your sons?
I have to say that I've fortunately had 3 very good eaters. In fact, all of it, all the Fruhmans, as they are, love their food. And anyone who's from the north know that the Fruhmans were well-known caterers. And so food was a very big part in our lives. And also from my side, having a mum that was the most amazing cook meant that we all loved food and all. So, what was the question?
It was when the boys said, wow.
Yes, so we certainly did. And I think that, there was always this compromise that you create. They want to eat some of the other stuff, but if you put all the good stuff around, they eat it as well. And that's really the key, that, I remember just leaving healthy things out for them, and they could go and pick them. And now they really are quite conscious about, how they eat, and I'm delighted to say we want a healthy way of life. So, it's obviously gone in.
So.
Yeah, I think if you do it, even if they say they don't want it, but it's always there, it goes in their subconscious. Yeah. So eventually they pick up those waves,
And the transition then between sort of the first career and the second, what then triggered you to allowed you to go and study?
Just the kids growing up and getting to the GCSE A-level stage where they were busy, and I needed my time, and I looked into various courses, and then just really found the one I wanted that was very hands-on, lots of clinic work, working with patients all the time, thinking about the food that they eat. And I'm always a very food-first person. Not sort of rushing to give supplements and testing this and that food. You have to get your food right. So I chose this course, and I thought, I can do it. I've got, this time. I thought it's always challenging when you try to do, so many things at once, and you're a mother, and you're this, and you're that, and the other. But the passion led me to it, and because I really enjoyed it, I did it. So 4 years of training, and then the training never stops, by the way, in nutrition. It's a dynamic industry, it's always changing, and there's always tons and tons of research coming out. And I'm sure you will all know that you read online the whole time, you read social media, and you see so much about nutrition, and you don't know what to believe, right? It's very confusing. So that's where you need people, hopefully like me, my colleagues who understand, who can sort of sift through that and say, look, this is really what you need to do, because it's just gone crazy, quite honestly. So so the training, and you keep on top of courses, and who are the people who know what they're talking about, they're doing the right research, and you stick on that path,
I had a couple of questions there, which I'll come back to about supplements and the change in nutrition, but we'll stick with the chronology and then come back to those, because I'll be really interested in what you think.
Yeah.
So then where do high come into the
yes, so
story?
Absolutely, it was really interesting because when we were doing clinic in training, one of the tutors, cancer patients used to come in and get nutrition advice, and I was just really taken by this because I thought to myself, when you get diagnosed, when it happens, you're sort of, you feel very much out of control, and you want some sort of control. And the only way, one of the few areas where you can have some control is with your food and how you feed yourself, how you nurture yourself. And it was therefore very powerful, and it was an empowering moment for that person. And it really kind of sucked me in. I just felt that I really want to be involved in this, and I want to help people in this way because you can give them that power.
How did you discover, what connected you with?
Well, I've always been sort of involved in a charitable way, and it was when I was reading some article about them, and I thought, I was looking into their therapists, and I thought, I'm dealing with cancer patients on a private basis in my clinic, but they don't have anyone to tell them about what to eat, food, and I know that oncologists just say, go and eat what you like, it's fine. And so I rang them up and I said, you haven't got, and we spoke and over a few months, and then went for an interview, and then they decided to take me on because they realised there was a gap there.
So they didn't have nutritional?
They didn't have nutritional therapy in any way there. I mean, that was in the northwest. I'm not sure about London actually, but you ladies at the back there can tell me that. But in the northwest they didn't, so I started working with them there. That was in 2017, so
right.
Yeah, so about 8 years coming up.
Ago.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. So, and how does that work now? How do you see by?
Yeah. So either in the clinic, we have at Manchester, we've got a lovely centre, and lots of really nice clinic rooms. There's a gym, a player, all sorts of things. And so I go into the clinic or work on Zoom. And since COVID, actually, I've pushed a lot of my practice onto Zoom. People like it, it's easier for them. And also you can go far and wide. So I've had clients in Singapore and all sorts of places, one in Switzerland, and one, people find you and they recommend. So that's also been quite interesting and quite nice.
There's advice on what to eat while you're being treated, and it changed a lot over the years since you've been involved.
When you say changed, I think in the beginning people just didn't know. So, and also there's still a lot of that. I don't know, any of you have had friends who've experienced, unfortunately, the process. Oncologists just tend to say, and the team say, eat what you like. And they come away and think, well, I'm not sure what to do. What does that mean? What should I do? I want to help myself. So how do I do that? So, it has grown, and I've taken quite a few courses since as well, because whenever anything new comes out, we jump on board, we look at the research, and there is, some good research coming out. So you keep on top of it, and then you know what you can do. I'm not here to say, the idea is to help you feel better through the process. And that's what we find happens, that the outcomes are better if people are taking care of themselves.
Which I think brings us to the book. Yes. Because that's really the premise of the book, isn't it?
Yes.
So tell me how that started, yeah.
Yes, well, I found that clients were saying to me, and everybody wants to help me, but they're bringing around cakes and sugary things and things that I really don't want to eat now. What should I do? What should I do with it? So I used to say to them, look, tell them you've spoken with your nutritionist. And she said, what would be really nice is if you could make her some of this soup or those soups or whatever. So that's how it sort of started developing. And it became, more and more obvious that there was a big need. And so I thought, I've been building up a recipe bank for many years, as you do in this profession. You start to understand what people need. You always look for good things. You think about anti-inflammatory foods. You think about low sugar foods, low glycemic index, low carb, and you start building up this. So I had a huge body of recipes already. that I can play around with. And I thought there's a book here, and actually there's a need. There's a real need for these people to be able to just pick it up and say, I can make the soup, it's going to take me 10 minutes, right? And this is good for me, and why is it good for me? So we're going to have a look at how that's been set out in a minute, but shall I explain a few things about the book?
Yeah.
So what I've done here is, as those of you, some of you who've seen it, I mean, I find that there are some recipe books that I like recipes in. I like some of the recipes, but the books themselves actually really annoy me. They annoy me because they don't open properly. They annoy me because you need to put something on top to hold the recipe page down. They annoy me because there's too much print, or there isn't a photograph of the actual recipe. So all these things were going round in my head, and I was saying, I want this to be a really easy book for people to follow, and fun and quick. So the pages, if you open any page, it will lie flat, okay? It's also quite glossy, so you can wipe it. You will see that there are photographs of every single recipe in there, so it's easy to know what you're supposed to be making. And the other thing that I've done, which maybe we can see on the screen, I'm going to flip. Is this working?
Yeah, I think point it to the camera, with the computer rather than the
Point it
to this computer here.
that
Sorry.
way. Yeah. Hang on. This way.
Sure, I will move to the next slide for you.
Oh.
Sorry.
That, if you carry on, we might go back in a minute. That's okay. So our competition today, we've got a little surprise for you, is going to be about buckwheat pancakes. Right, so what I was going to say about this, so on every recipe, what I've done at the bottom is some nutrition tips. Sorry, I'm just using paper here. I'm just going to go to that recipe page. So, for example, I've made it nice and easy that the ingredients are on the left, the method's on the right, and there aren't too many ingredients. As you'll see with most of the recipes, there are not a lot of ingredients, and it's everything you can buy in the supermarket, okay? And at the bottom, it says healthy buckwheat. Have any of you ever used buckwheat, by the way? No. A whole audience that hasn't touched it. Oh, great.
I think in France they use them a lot for galettes. Yeah,
Yes.
so we have them there. I think we have them there.
Yeah, so I brought it into this book because, so I put here healthy buckwheat. Buckwheat is not a grain, but rather a fruit seed. It's very light, it's very versatile, and easily digested. It's high in protein, wheat-free, gluten-free, a rich supply of flavonoids, and an excellent source of fibre. For a gentle start, it combines extremely well with whole wheat flour, so begin by using half and half. It's a fabulous flour. It's filling and it's light, and it's, with so many people having issues with wheat and gluten, it's a really great alternative. So I've done, in this picture, I've showed you a sweet alternative, which is using berries, maybe a bit of maple syrup, a bit of sour cream. It's a fantastic breakfast. We're going to do it the savoury way in the competition, and we've got Ashkenazi team versus Sephardi team, which is coming up. So we'll come to that in a minute, but just so that you know, all the recipes have got these healthy tips at the bottom.
How many recipes are there?
There are about, actually 129 to be super precise.
And how long did that take?
So about 18 months putting it together. So because we wanted to photograph every single recipe, we had 21 photo shoots in my kitchen. It made everything fresh, and Kate and I, Kate, my amazing photographer, did it together, and we used stuff from my own kitchen.
It's
So,
amazing.
Yeah.
It's really, really professional.
What's the next one? There's another lovely breakfast. So easy to make coconut pancakes. My graphic designer was drooling over this, and of course he's 6'4", and he's like a beanpole. So of course you can imagine he eats so much. So he'd come in and he'd think, "What are we going to eat today? What am I going to take home?"
So he came to all the shoots as
Sam
well.
came to the shoot. Well, almost all of them, not quite, but he was definitely there for that one because remember he took a whole load home. But that's
This is
just
your
with,
bits and pieces.
yeah, we've got coconut pancakes with Some of my chia seed jam, which you can taste today, is in there. Some berries, and we did some creme fraiche and poured over some maple syrup. Again, it's fabulous breakfast, and you're getting loads of good nutrition in there. So, that's the idea. So, yeah.
And then in terms of getting recipes, did you have to test every recipe again, or did you know they were going to work? I mean, how to start from scratch to write a cookbook?
Yeah.
I've been doing this a long time, and not even written a cookbook, but there's a lot involved in the accuracy and that fear of.
Yes. So, yes, I would say because they built up over the years, a lot of them I was using all the time, using with the family, using to entertain, and I did a bit of tweaking on the way in that time, just testing things again and trying it out with friends, sending it to. I've got one great friend who's an amazing cook and whips up things super quick, and I'd ring her up and say, "Go on, try this recipe. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think." And we've got people like that around just to tweak it, and we got there. So.
And did you have a plan before you started that it would involve certain? I don't know. How did you divide up?
How did you start?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's a very good question because I was so lost. I had absolutely no idea how to do it. I just thought, so I started phoning people who were in books in some way or another, in cookery books, and asking them questions. And then I realised I needed a food photographer and I needed a graphic designer. So we went through maybe 2 people before we found the team that's actually worked with me. And Kate was the most amazing photographer, and she is a food photographer. So she worked with me to plan the book into chapters. And we built it from there, and it sort of just seemed to come together. And Sam put it all together like this with the photos and the print and the design, and he did an amazing job. I have to say, local people to me as well. I think when you're meant to do something, it comes together, and that's really kind of what happened. So,
and is it aimed at purely people who might be cooking for someone who's poorly, or is there a wider?
I would say
a wider direction.
Yeah, well, I think both. I think it's people will find a lot, as we're talking about this food, a lot of things that you would really enjoy eating. So it's healthy food, and it's anti-inflammatory, and it's low sugar. I don't think there's any sugar in any of the recipes here, and there is a dessert chapter. So, it's healthy for everybody, so the family can enjoy it too, and it's a great way of cooking. So, I would say I kind of tried to make it that way as well. And you'll see on the front that we got the family together, and the little ones, and we did a family lunch. And Mum and Dad said, "Oh, my children won't touch anything." She said, "Don't worry, but they'll come and they'll just sit." Well, we've got them eating everything, So it was great. And it was just to show that there's a lot of healing power in eating together as a family and with your friends. It's very nurturing, it's very healing. And it's what we do so well as a community. So, I just wanted to really emphasize that.
Are there any, I would take a cake or biscuits or something, some of the soup. Are there specific recipes there that you think would be the right thing to take to someone in need?
Well, it depends what they're feeling like, and that's why I've done quite a variety. There's lots of soups in there, which are easy soups and healthy soups, and a little twist on chicken soup, which is a bit of an Asian version for something extra. Really, I feel like anything will be appropriate, but except you will find that those who are unwell might say to you, "I'm feeling like this," or "I don't feel like that."
So a good thing to ask someone.
Absolutely. And also there are times when they've not got such a good appetite, so they might sip a smoothie or even a juice. If someone has a juicer at home, you can take round just something fresh. It's also thinking about those things when they don't have much of an appetite as well. So I've done a bit of that. There is a drink section in there. Hydration really important. Included that.
So maybe you buy it for them and then have them come back to you.
Yeah, they could. Absolutely. Yeah. So there's lots of choice, as well. So
you mentioned sugar.
Yes.
Is that the big, is it an absolute no-no? Where do you sit on what we should be doing?
As little as possible. I know it's hard. It is really something that we need to try and avoid, especially for cancer patients. And so I think if you're on that journey or you're trying to, I would just say to people, start by cutting down. You know, if you take sugar in your coffee, for example, reduce it. If it's 1 spoon, reduce it to half a spoon. Or switch up, try some maple syrup, because that's much lower in its glycemic load. And so there are other things that count and that are better. So I talk a lot to clients about that so that they can understand sugars as such, because sugars is a big topic and types of sugar makes a difference. Yeah. So just, you know, that is a thing, but we are trying to reduce it, really. It's, you know, in the 80s, it was all about the fat that made you fat, and they got it all wrong. And we all then learned it's the sugar, not the fat. We need healthy fats and not trans fats. So it's been a massive shift.
So have you made a big shift in your advice to patients then since you've been practicing, or was that really...
That was even before,
yeah.
So absolutely. By the time I was training, we knew that sugar was the one that we really need to avoid, and that was causing so much chronic disease, and well, part of that journey. And so that's understanding the different types, like I said, and how it works is really important, and understanding fats. So we spent quite a lot of time talking about that to clients. Yeah.
And you talked about other changes. I've been reading a lot about the gut microbiome. Can you tell us just more about that and what we...
Well, I could if we had a week. It's a massive topic. Yeah. But it is coming to the fore. We are understanding the gut so much better. We're understanding that bacteria and healthy bacteria is so important. We're understanding more about the ways that create unhealthy bacteria, the ways that create really good bacteria, and what we can do about it. So that is really fantastic, and we do a lot of work with the gut. As one of my lecturers said to me, and I'll never forget it, your gut is the gateway to your body, and if you have a really healthy gut, you can never get ill. So, you know, it is something that you really need to work on, and we do a lot of work on it, and once you start to really improve that, then things start to change. Yeah.
Any favourite recipes?
Favourites. I love talking about favourites. Let's go to favourites now. What we'll do, press this way. So my buckwheat, this is using roasted buckwheat, not buckwheat flour. My buckwheat and lentil flour has been a favourite in our family for years and years. Use it loads for entertaining. Everyone loves it. Full of really nutritious ingredients. Very easy to make. That's a kind of, I use that when I'm entertaining, if we ever get any vegetarians or even vegans, because it's a vegan recipe. And, you know, I usually put that on the table as well. So, yeah, there's that one.
It's not a pastry, is it? It's just like
it's
just a lot of buckwheat and lentils.
Yeah,
Tasty buckwheat
carrots
lentils.
and onions and spices together. Now, this is my favourite. This is a deluxe vegetable burger, and it's probably the recipe in the book that has the most ingredients, but it's so delicious, it's really worth making. And you know, you get that bit of bread, and you get some kimchi or cabbage salad and lettuce, as you can see there. You put the burger in, and it's just like this complete meal that's so nutritious. So it's been another favourite. Again, that's also actually vegan. If we go to...
Is there a lot of vegetarian and vegan? Is it predominantly vegetarian and vegan?
Sorry, I didn't mention that. There is a vegan chapter, a veggie chapter, fish, and chicken and turkey. Okay. Not red meat though, haven't included it. I like to get people to sort of reduce a bit and not have too much red meat. So if they can try other things, it's good. The reason I put this pesto courgette up is because like it's so delicious and it takes 10 minutes to make. It's really clever. So think about kind of that as another one to highlight. And my warming fish stew is a great winter meal. In fact, I've not made that for a few weeks, so I might go back to that soup. Might make that next week. But that's also a delicious one. The kids love it. It's a lovely family meal as well, really hearty. And so that was the favourite. And this was the final one that I picked out because my mum used to make this recipe, chicken balls with green beans, red rice, and what I did was made a slightly healthier version of what my mum used to make, because it reminds me of mum, so I loved it, I love it, I love making it. So that's another favourite.
Where was your mum from?
From Baghdad.
Oh,
Yeah, so lots of Middle Eastern cooking, Iraqi cooking, yeah. So
I saw nutritional yeast flakes in an ingredient. What are they? I've actually got some, I still don't know what they are.
just full of B complex, yeast flakes are just dried yeast. It's B complex, so very high in B vitamins. And it's got like yeasty flavour, so if you sprinkle it on, it's almost cheesy.
Okay.
Yeah, so it really adds a good flavour with lots of nutrition. Yeah.
I've been cooking
Sorry, that's coming to us.
I think
We're almost there. So what I'm going to do, so that's in the dessert section. Are we ready to explain what the taste is?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, so what we've put out for you, I've made tasters, which we're going to go and bring some from the kitchen. So there's chocolate bark, and I might add, dark chocolate's good for you, so don't feel guilty eating it. And there's cranberries and pistachios in there. Full of serotonin and magnesium, so enjoy. We've got spirulina truffles. Does anyone use spirulina? Right. So spirulina is from algae, and it's a green powder. So I dare you to try them. It's a bit of a different taste, but go for it.
Can I interrupt for a second? Green powder. Someone I know has bought a whole thing of green powder. He thinks it's going to be good for him. My husband. So I'm
You're
curious.
talking about a different green powder.
Yes, but
Matcha.
yes.
Are you talking about matcha?
No, it's a mixture of greens.
Greens.
Yeah, it's a green powder. I don't actually know what it is then. Sorry.
Well,
Well,
quite a lot of green powders. Yeah. So it depends what you use, right? So put it oh yes.
sorry, just before we go to the break, we'll just finish explaining what the taste
You'll
of the
find those on the table. Date, pick and choose. By the way, there are nuts. So if anybody is allergic, yes, sensitive, they do contain nuts. Pecan States dark chocolate. Try those. My breakfast granola is on the table. Try that. It's a really great breakfast. Better than. And we've got an almonds and buckwheat loaf with some chia seed jam on top. So again, that's got no flour in it. So just try them all and see what you think.
Absolutely, we'll need to explain
So we'll do that afterwards. That's the chia seed jam. Yeah. So I've just got something really funny to show you just before we. This is a really funny story, and it's very quick, and it's gone Shira. Here we are, we're back. Right, okay, so my friend was really ill last week, and she had really bad flu, and she said, "Oh, Susan, what can I do? I need something for her." So I said to her, make these turmeric shots. They're in the book, by the way. Told her what to do, she did it. And while she was ill, she was talking to a business partner about these shots. He looked them up online and he decided to make them. So this is this guy. He gets the ingredients. Next shot. And this is him making it. And this is him sieving it. Okay. And this is him actually trying it.
To good health.
Turns out it's a great advert.
Which just goes to show, follow the recipe, don't It's not necessarily correct. It's completely wrong what he did. So he choked on it because it was what he put it was strong. Mega strong. Knocked him out. So that's hilarious.
I thought it was
And
one
she
of
said
yours.
to me, I have to send it you because it was hilarious what he did. It's like, there you go.
Can we ask any questions?
So,
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break for the tasters.
yeah,
Then we're going to come back for
we're having our little competition.
and then there'll be
and
lots
we'll
of time
have
for questions.
Okay.
So go for it.
Thank you.
And I don't have a stand
Please don't consider. The thing will be, each stage you choose this or this, this or this, this or this. And we make it according to what you chose. You don't get a code there. I think we should get started. milk, dairy, Okay, everybody. If we're ready to start the game, Susan's going to explain what we're doing. So it's just a little bit of a food tasting competition. We've got the buckwheat
pancakes, one for the Ashkenazi team and one for Team Safari. And you guys are going to choose the toppings. But before you choose the toppings, we're going to put a base on, which is cream cheese for the Ashkenazi team and my chickpea pate for the Sephardi team. So once we've spread that, Sheila is going to actually, so what you've got is a QR code. If you want to get your phones out, we need to
Go to the Ashkenazi side. There are some everywhere.
We're going to do the Ashkenazi one first.
Yeah.
And on the QR code, you're going to vote for the toppings you want to go inside the pancake. And we're going to build it up, roll it up, slice it, and then 2 people in the audience are going to come out and taste it. And they're going to vote for which they prefer. So, okay? Do you kind of get it? Am I explaining this clearly? Right, so let's
I want to look at you do this. The Ashkenazi side of
Susan, just in the middle. Okay, so let's go round the whole way. Can everyone do the code?
Is the code actually working? Is the code working? Is it working?
Are our heads in the way?
Yes, that was in the way. You're choosing on each selection. You're going to take.
Does anyone need this code? Here we go. Take a picture. Yeah, you're going to the
Okay, later. Yeah, we're going to talk you through.
But anybody that's struggling, what you should do is there's 3 layers of toppings with different options. So once you've opened up the QR code, it will come up with, I put it on here for everyone to see. On the left-hand side, you'll see it. So you're going to choose between each of those things. And
First one, smoked salmon, avocado, or nothing to go on top of the cream cheese.
then the second topping, and then the third topping, and then right at the end, you're going to press OK right over here. Okay?
Yeah, so no, exactly. So you've got smoked salmon and avocado as your first choices. Second choice is a pickled cucumber or regular cucumber. And in any of these, you could say, I don't want any of those. And the last parts of the topping are parsley or dill. So what you've got, to remind you, smoked salmon, avocado, pickled cucumbers and cucumber, and dill and parsley.
If you haven't got a QR code, it's not
It doesn't work. It might be easier. Stand up. We'll show a cat.
I think so.
Okay, we're going to go back.
Right, we're going to try another way.
Sorry, everyone.
Right, are we ready? Choice number 1 on top of this beautiful cream cheese butternut pancake. Is it smoked salmon, avocado, or neither? Smoked salmon. Avocado. Or neither.
Avocado.
It's definitely smoked salmon.
Smoked salmon, yeah.
There we go.
Smoked salmon goes on top.
Okay.
All right, choice number 2 on this lovely pancake that you're building. Is it pickled cucumber or
Regular cucumber.
fresh cucumber? Fresh. Or not?
Or not?
Okay. You want the fresh cucumber?
Fresh
on it?
cucumber it is.
Okay. Just all in the middle still.
Yeah.
I think so. This one just gonna roll in. Okay, and the last topping. Do you want dill? Or parsley? Definitely dill. Or nothing. I think dill wins.
Okay. Which one is it?
Dill. Dill.
That one. Should we do that one? No.
I'm gonna.
That sounds good.
Okay, right. Right, you can listen up for the Sephardi pancake. Right, we've got a base of, which is,
This is a chickpea pate with cumin and tomato puree, which is going on. Let's get started. Right, a choice for the topping. This is quite Middle Eastern. Yes. Cumin, tomato paste.
right. Spicy chickpea and tomato pate is on the base.
Yeah. And choice number 1, roasted red peppers or more chickpeas, whole chickpeas. Roasted red peppers. Roasted chickpeas.
Yeah.
Oh, it's everywhere. Roasted red peppers. Roasted red peppers. Right, choice number 2 is green olives or za'atar. Green olives. Za'atar. Did you?
I love that.
And the third choice is parsley or radish. Radish.
What is it? I don't know. Is it parsley? Just going back
Right. Right, okay.
Listen up, everybody.
There are a couple of people in the room that have a star on the back of their shirt.
Everyone needs to stand up. There's one in this section and one in this
Right, you've got to start. Come on up. You've got to take come, yeah.
So basically, you are
Running the place of America. You're going to say which one the other girls want to
Ah, Sephardi. Okay. One Sephardi. Very nice. Thank you. Right.
Well, I just prefer, because I changed the menu, but I prefer the combination of the Ashkenaz side. That's all.
Yes, yes.
And it's also
So what they're saying to me is that everyone loves the rugby.
Yeah, the pancakes are lovely.
Yeah, right.
And there are some here if you want to try after.
That's a really good one. Make them for the grandkids, make them for the kids, make them for everyone.
Which one won?
It's a draw. It's a draw, one each.
Should we get on the question? Should we do the questions? We've got to yeah.
We'll do them. She's going to make them. We're going to do this out of the way.
Okay, right, everybody, if you'd like to. I think we can move on to questions. So I know that some people might have questions. We'll just take questions from the floor. Just put your hands up, lady over there, Michelle.
I just wanted to ask you about organic. Because, like I was saying, things have changed. A number of years ago, there was a whole thing about eating organic is healthier for you, and if people were unwell, they were told to probably choose the organic option, whether it was fruit and vegetables and things like that. But has there been any scientific proof? Because I just feel it has sort of been out a little bit. And is there any difference?
Yeah, did you all hear the question?
Yeah.
We do encourage people to try and eat organic because it just hasn't got the pesticides and herbicides on it, and we know that those can be damaging and harmful. So preferably, I know it's difficult and it's more expensive, but it is a preference generally, yes. Just least of all, I mean, most of all, if it hasn't got those on, if you can do that, that's a much better option. So, for anything else, it's difficult to say. But in any case, one should really wash vegetables and fruits well before using them. You know,
Children as well, organic, if you can.
if you can, it's not good right It's in Mark's whole approach that if there are certain things that you can buy easily, you know, within the budget, then I definitely go for organic if you can. Yeah.
So following on from that though, when you look at other countries and people are extremely healthy and they follow healthy diets and they eat slightly different, like say a Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
But if they're not eating organic, but they're particularly healthy and they have a healthy way of life, what's there to justify that you would say you should eat organic? It seems to be, I think, more of a thing here, and there's probably more unhealthy people in this country than there are ever.
Well, I think that, you know, we all love and really approve of the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
And it has stood the test of time, and lots of other diets come and go, but the Mediterranean diet is a really good foundational way to eat. But if you think about it, they are probably eating a lot of natural fresh food that hasn't been traveling around the world.
Local.
We are really bad at that here.
Markets everywhere.
And there's markets everywhere, European markets, you can go and get fresh food. It's not the same here at all, everything's flown in. You know, so if you can go to a farm shop, if you can get things that are local, that are locally grown, it's a good thing. But there isn't that much of it, really. I'll answer the question.
Well, this lady here.
Yeah.
Healthy eating and good nutrition are as important in the prevention of cancer as for helping people who are getting over or being treated. So presumably we should be adopting the type of eating that you're advocating in the book into all our daily routines.
Absolutely. I really am a big believer in that. It's about being preventative, it's about looking after yourself all the while before anything happens. And there is a page in there that's got a heading of checking in with yourself. You know, do we think about that? Do we think about how we're really feeling? Am I feeling tired? Have I got a lot of backache? Am I not sleeping well? Well, your body's telling you something. So it's just to highlight that we should all be thinking about that for sure. And preventative is the key. Yeah. And it would be great if I could get everyone eating this way. I just feel so passionate about it. And it's not difficult. And often the answers to these things are not difficult, and that's why people can't do them somehow, you know. So, yeah, I absolutely agree.
I'll come to you in a second. The gentleman at the back.
I've got an observation and a question. The observation is the Japanese diet may be better than the Mediterranean, because the Japanese diet, most longevity of all, it's very different.
Yeah.
It may be easier to explode the Mediterranean diet. My question is, you talked about sugar. What about salt? What do you use for salt right there?
Yeah.
What do you use?
What do I use?
Do you use like a low salt, or do you use soil?
I use Himalayan sea salt and something called herbamare. Has anybody heard of
What's
it?
that called?
Yes. Herbamare.
So it's like a vegetable salt.
It's Swiss, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
So
popular in South
I use all three, and look, it also depends, brings me to the point about the individuals. So, for example, if you're somebody who does loads of sport and sweats a lot, you need more salt. So you have to think about the person's lifestyle. But yes, we all have far too much salt, and often it's not our fault because it's in the food that we eat. the food that you buy. It's UPS, ultra processed food. It's one of the things, and really we don't need more on average than a teaspoon of salt a day.
Well, why is Himalayan healthier? It's just salt.
It's actually because it's got the minerals that we're saying compared to table salt, which is mineral depleted.
Yeah.
So it's just because it does have the calcium, magnesium, sodium,
Alright.
you know, the mineral content. Sea salt's good and rock salt's good as well.
Okay, there's a lady here and then I'll come to this side.
I just wanted to add on to what you were saying about organic. Obviously, organic produce is much more expensive, and not every fruit and vegetable comes in an organic version. You can actually wash a fruit and veg in bicarbonate soda and water, and it removes all the pesticides from that.
Yes,
so
it's
if you
a
just
good
buy
point.
generic fruit and veg and then
Yes.
just wash it properly, rather than just with water, but with bicarbonate, which is 70p for like a tub like this. It cleans the fruit and vegetables, so you remove less of that. And also, just one other thing, I'm like not really into all the kind of following all like the social media stuff when it comes to food, but I do have an app called Yuka on my phone.
Yeah.
Which I have to tell you has completely changed the way that I buy stuff and the quality of produce in stuff that you might not necessarily think and isn't actually that much more expensive than you would think it would be. And it just basically breaks down all the preservatives and the harmful chemicals that are in processed foods, and then it shows you alternatives from Lidl, Aldi, all the supermarkets.
Yuka, Y-U-K-A. It's how I then stop my kids buying rubbish. Y-U-K-A. The lady over here in the pink cardi.
Yes, with 500,000 people in the UK alone taking Ozempic or the other variants of the drug, does that mean that, does that signal, and that's in 2 years, does that signal that sort of, we're actually going to a stage where people can have their cake, albeit perhaps a slightly smaller portion, and still eat it?
Yes, I thought somebody might be asking about Ozempic. It's a difficult one. It's reasonably new. We know that some people are having an awful lot of unpleasant side effects. And we don't know the long term really yet. So I'm sort of sitting on the fence with it, and I know it's a hard one. There are lots of people who have done well on it so far, but we don't know what the long-term effects are going to be. What they should be doing while they're on it is changing the way they eat, so that when they come off it, if they do, they don't go back to those old eating habits, because at the end of the day, if you don't have that healthy foundation, it's going to be really hard to help yourself, So I can't say a lot about it other than that at the moment. We're waiting really to hear. All I know is that lots of people have had some quite severe side effects from it, so picking up the pieces from that at the moment.
Lady here, and then I'll come to you.
I wanted to ask you, nobody's mentioned Till Spectre.
Yes, I really like Till Spectre, the Zoe project.
Yes, and I just wondered what you thought about it, and the idea that you should have at least 30 different basic foods every week. And
he's doing some great things, and that is a fantastic thing to be telling people, and it's encouraging them to eat a lot more different things, to include, diverse foods and a range. And I think what he's done is really good in some ways. He's highlighted how people can understand what might shoot their blood sugar up, what doesn't agree with them. The pendulum has swung a little bit too far the other way, and it's quite expensive, and they try to, they do tie you in, they want you in for long, and they want you spending money. I think that's a bit of a shame. I've known Tim Spector for quite a long time. We were working with him in the early days, and he's done some fantastic work on the gut, and there will be great things coming out. So I think that Zoe has its place for those that really don't know a lot about nutrition. And I know people it's really helped, and I know of others who said to me, well, I didn't learn that much from it because I already knew. So it depends on that person, you know, but he's really doing great stuff. So I'm sure there'll be lots of other things that come out of it too. So,
It's another good book. After you bought Susan, there's the Zoe cookbook.
There's some Zoe cookbooks
Do your recipes show the calories involved?
No, because I'm not a calorie counter ever with anybody or any of my clients. For me, it's all about healthy and nutritious food that you feel satiated because your body will naturally adapt. Counting calories is actually old school now, and you'll find that most don't actually go into counting calories. If you do plenty of good exercise, you need to move as well. It's not just food. You need to move. You have to get, you know, people moving. So doing the two together is what works. And also, it makes it easier for people to say, look, your meal consists of, I think I have this here, I didn't actually explain it. Yes, the balanced plate is at the beginning of the book, and it's actually a foundation of how to eat. I always go quarter, half. Quarter protein, quarter carb, it should be the right type, half a plate of vegetables. And if you have that balance in most of your meals, you can't really go wrong.
So a lot of restaurants show the calories now.
They do, because they think it's what the government has implemented.
You know, I mean, if I'm in Waitrose,
yeah.
I look at the Danish pastries, I run away because of the calories, so I think it is.
Well, I'd say you'd also could run away because it's actually saturated fats. Which are
If you're running, you're doing all right.
So this lady here.
Sorry, Harry, sort of continuing on from what this lady was asking about calories. A lot of the good fats, I believe, are quite calorific, like
Yeah.
olive oils and carbo. So is it actually, I know it's a very healthy fat eating, but is it also a way of weight loss or not?
Is it a way of weight loss?
To lose weight all the time,
Absolutely.
even though you're eating things that are.
Yeah, if you eat enough of the healthy fats in the right way, your hormones start to balance and your body resets, it supports the adrenals, and you start to lose weight. And that's what, this is the concept that people find really hard to understand. You know, because actually on those kind of calories, you feel very satiated. So you're not going to have the biscuit in half an hour because the avocado with the olive oil on it has made you really full. And it's giving you really good energy, not short energy that comes from the biscuit, you know, the sugar. So that's the difference we try to explain to people. But I know it's a really hard concept to, but people get it. And when they get it, they're, you know, flying with good energy usually. So, yeah.
What's your view on all of a sudden people have been lactose intolerant, gluten-free and all this kind of stuff?
With
allergies, like severe allergies I get, nut allergies and all that, because it's actually a physical reaction, but it seems to be that lots of people just self-diagnose themselves as I'm this intolerant, I'm that intolerant, but they've eaten it for 30 years, but yet they woke up one day and said, I'm lactose intolerant.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of that around now, and it's not necessarily, because I think it's probably from what they see and read on social media, it's good to stop everything, you know, and it's like the pendulum's, again, swung too far the other way. Not everybody needs to be off wheat and gluten, and, you know, lots of people are fine on it. I think we just have to watch it and think about yourself and not get too carried away. Interestingly, I think, isn't it very predominant in Jewish people, lactose intolerance?
Yeah.
So that, and you can do a test for that, and it's quite straightforward, but otherwise I think it's, you know, it can be a bit too much. Having said that, the thing about wheat is the flour, and it's not necessarily the flour itself, but the way it has possibly been stored, that we understand that if it's been stored for weeks and weeks and weeks, which can happen, it possibly has mold and spores on it, and it is that which is causing a problem. If you get wheat or flour from somebody who's made it fresh and then made the bread, you know, completely different thing you're talking about. So it's often these processes that are damaging us rather than the actual ingredient itself, which is something to think about.
Do you not think that society makes people think that if they are all these things free and they're vegan and all this kind of stuff, that people buy into it, but actually all the ingredients that are in a lot of these products are actually more harmful than the real deal itself?
Definitely, they go gluten free, and then they'll go and buy all these gluten free products in supermarkets, and they're full of rubbish. Yeah, you have to be careful, and yes, totally.
Especially with illnesses like the chemicals and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So that's another thing about what I've included here, sort of these healthy vegan recipes. I get people coming to me saying, I went vegan 3 months ago and I feel really ill now. Because they don't know what they're doing. Also, some people thrive on animal food. And it's about recognizing that as well. We are all different and we have to understand that, you know. So what's good for one is not necessarily good for the other.
Okay, any more? I think we are done.
Yeah, we're done with it. We had a few questions that came in what time tonight. Somebody asked a question, actually I think it was my husband asked a question, came up with it, about having breakfast in the morning. Is it important to eat breakfast in the morning? Yeah, so it's a good question really. If you're not hungry at 8 o'clock in the morning, don't force yourself. But it is important to get good fuel in at the beginning of the day. I mean, in the morning time, so it could be 11 o'clock, it depends on you again. But the fuel is the energy we need in the day, so make it count.
Where does that sit with intermittent fasting?
Yeah, exactly. So, sorry, time restricted eating, it is so if you're doing like a 16-8, anybody done that kind of thing? Yeah. It's absolutely fine as long as you make that first meal count and make it healthy, and it will be a little bit later in the morning, but you need your fuel. Don't leave it till later in the day when actually you don't need much fuel and then you start eating plenty, which you don't really burn up. So it's about, you know, I do that individually with people depending on how they feel and what they need. Time restricted eating has plenty of benefits and it can be really good if done in the right way. So, yeah. Adam?
Got one more question.
Yeah.
Is there something that you take or Lawrence takes every day that you would recommend? Is it a shot or is there something that you think everybody should do?
I do take, I thought somebody might ask a question about supplements. Supplements can be important, but I think again, people way overtake supplements. You don't need it really if you have a really good, healthy diet. I take vitamin D because I know that I struggle to keep it up, and most people in this country are deficient, but I test regularly. Lawrence is a different case, my husband. I'm sure he won't mind me sharing that information, but he has supplements to support his heart, which is really important. So again, it depends on the individual and what their state of health is and what they need. But I can have people come to me with a carrier bag full of things, and then they're slowly getting them all out on the table. And I'm going like this, and it takes about, half an hour of a discussion of, wow, you take about 30 supplements a day. No, you don't really need to do that. So, but they definitely have a place. They definitely have a place.
I also meant like the turmeric shots or something. Is there something like that?
Sorry, yes, I was going to say, I do make turmeric shots, but not like that guy. The correct ones, they're in here actually, the turmeric shots. They're amazing. If you have a juicer, they're very expensive. I make a whole batch and I take one out every day, and it's fantastic. It's so powerful. I love it. Through the winter, there's lots of things you can do like that. I also do tell clients and tailor them to what might be good. So if you need to cleanse something with celery and cucumber, freeze it, take it out every day, things like that can be really beneficial. That's where food becomes medicine. Absolutely. So I think it's found it there. So.
And it's 40 shots, so they could be going for a month, over a month.
Yeah, I do that. at home, and I really like that. So yeah, you can do that, it's great.
Would you, what if you've got a bit of a sweet tooth and you like fruit, and you just, would you say you can carry on eating a load of sugar-based sweets, or limit it?
Fruit, you're asking about? Yeah, I think fruit's really important. I mean, think about all the colours in fruit. All those colours provide something really special. They're full of what we call polyphenols and flavonoids, really high in vitamin C, the things that we really need as part of our healthy gut bacteria again as well, the things that protect our immune system. So 2 to 3 portions of fruit a day is really good, and I would always say, you know, include it in your food plan. Unless, of course, you had a specific reaction to certain fruits, which happens with people and it shoots their blood sugar up. But we would go into that on a one-to-one basis, but generally, fruit is really good.
Should it be whole fruit? Because if you start juicing it or cooking it, then the sugar,
sugar changes.
It makes it a bad sugar as opposed to a whole fruit.
Depending on how you use it, if you combine it with protein and things like nut butter, it sort of slows that sugar down. But whole fruit is full of fibre, it's fantastic, but stick with whole fruit, yeah, if you can. Eat the skin on the apple, you know, just that's plenty of fibre in there. And by the way, people do not have enough fibre. This is the biggest thing that's coming out today, and fibre is what protects your bowel, your gut, prevents bowel cancer. It's so important, and it's been so understated. Keep fibre in your diet, eat the skin on things, you know, and the healthy complex carbs and all that kind of thing, brown rice, etc., etc. So fibre in the fruit for sure.
Okay, I think we're going to draw things to a close.
Forever.
Absolutely. I'm sure you'd answer a couple of questions people as well.
Yeah.
Before they go ahead. But thank you so much, Susan.
Thank you.
For sharing.
Don't forget, Susan's going to stay a little while just to do some book signings if anybody wants to purchase. They are going to, the proceeds are going to Cancer High. So please, they're great as gifts, they're beautiful if you haven't looked through them before. I'm quite excited to use mine. So yeah. So just to say a few thank yous. So I'd just like to thank our 2 lovely ladies up here. Victoria, thank you very much. Thank you. And there's one other lovely lady who's been very, very busy helping in the background, making all these wonderful, lovely, delicious little delicacies in her kitchen. And I just want to say a big thank you to Shira. And just to say to you, thank you to our security outside who've stood in the cold. You're both in English, well done. And thank you very much for supporting us tonight. Thank you.